The Viking Age did not belong to calm waters. It belonged to freezing spray, grinding ice, salt-soaked winds, and, waves strong enough to tear weak ships apart. And yet, Viking ships crossed open oceans, survived decades of use, and in some cases still survive today in burial mounds and seabeds. This endurance was not luck, and it was not brute force. It was logic. Vikings understood wood in a way that, honestly, modern builders often forget. They knew how to select it, prepare it, shape it, and protect it so that it remained strong under constant stress. Today we're going to examine exactly how Viking timber logic worked, why it succeeded in some of the harshest marine environments on Earth, and how these principles can still be applied by anyone who wants wood to last under pressure. So, why did the Vikings shape green wood early and let it dry later? Unlike many modern practices, Vikings often worked wood while it was still green. Green wood is just, easier to shape and bend without cracking. Hull planks were carved, bent, and fastened while the fibers were still flexible. Once installed, the wood was allowed to dry slowly in its final form. As the timber dried, it tightened around fastenings and joints, increasing strength instead of loosening. This process created ships that became stronger with time rather than weaker. A practical example today is shaping joints or curved components before full drying, then allowing them to season in place. This approach is especially useful for boats, shelters, or outdoor structures. Now, when it came to saltwater, how was exposure managed instead of avoided? Vikings did not try to keep seawater away from their ships entirely. They accepted exposure and worked with it. Saltwater leached sugars from the wood over time, reducing food sources for decay organisms. Continuous use also prevented stagnant moisture from lingering in one place. Ships were hauled out regularly, dried, repaired, and re-oiled. This cycle of wetting and drying was expected and planned for, not feared. Wood that remained constantly damp was avoided, but wood that could breathe and dry between voyages lasted far longer. For modern use, this logic applies to any environment with moisture, designed for drainage and drying rather than sealing wood completely and trapping water inside. Why were iron fastenings paired with wood logic, not forced onto it? Viking ships used iron rivets, but these were not the primary structural strength. The wood itself carried the load. Rivets allowed controlled movement instead of rigid fixation. The planking was clinker-built, overlapping boards that flexed independently. This allowed the ship to ride waves rather than fight them. Strength came from cooperation between parts, not rigidity. This principle applies directly to modern joinery. Allowing controlled movement through pegged joints or flexible fasteners often outperforms rigid screws and adhesives in long-term durability. Oils, tar, and maintenance completed the system. Vikings sealed and protected their ships with pine tar, animal fats, and oils. These substances penetrated the wood, repelled water, and remained flexible in cold temperatures. Unlike modern coatings, they did not crack and peel. Maintenance was constant and expected. A ship was never considered finished. This mindset extended the lifespan of both material and vessel. You can still use pine tar or oil blends today for marine or outdoor wood. Reapply regularly and treat maintenance as part of ownership, not failure. Why did Viking ships survive? Because they were allowed to flex. The defining feature of Viking timber logic is flexibility. Their ships were not stiff platforms. They were living structures that moved with the sea. Wood selection, shaping, drying, fastening, and maintenance all supported this goal. Modern failures often come from trying to make wood behave like steel or plastic. Vikings succeeded because they let wood behave like wood. So, what does this logic teach us today? Viking timber logic was not mystical or primitive. It was empirical and brutally honest. If a ship failed, people died. That reality refined their methods quickly. The result was one of the most successful maritime technologies in history. By applying even a portion of this reasoning, respecting grain, embracing flexibility, drying wisely, and maintaining regularly, we can build wooden structures that last far longer than many modern equivalents. And just as a closing thought, if this kind of grounded, evidence-driven history matters to you, subscribe to Relic Logic. Share this with anyone who believes ancient knowledge still has practical value. The Vikings did not conquer the seas through force alone, but through understanding.